Okay, this is the new Peugeot 308. This is the 308 wagon, the entry level one at 36,990. There's a more expensive one for an extra $4,000 that gives you a 1.5 engine rather than a 1.2 engine. But there's not really much of a reason to buy the 1.5 because this 1.2 litre 3-cylinder motor is really quite amazing. With turbocharging, they've managed to get 96 kilowatts, that's about 130 horsepower, and I think 230 newton meters of torque out of it. The car only weighs 1,200 kgs, so it gets around pretty well. Peugeot quotes a 0 to 100 time of just over 10 seconds. You know, I've got no reason to doubt that. One of the most notable things about this car is actually the instrument panel. It's set up high, higher than what you would normally find, and you actually look over the steering wheel at the instruments rather than through this hole in the steering wheel as you do traditionally. This has two effects. One is it feels really weird for a while, but it also allows Peugeot to have a really nice small diameter wheel, which is nice and comfortable to use. And it's only got a few controls on it. It's not festooned with volume. It's just got volume controls and a couple of selector controls, and that's about it. Another thing I like is almost every function is handled through this screen on the dashboard. Down here it's all nice and clean, it's clear. I like the way they match the texture of the upper console with the center console. Yeah, it's just a very, very nice car to drive. It rides perhaps not as smooth as I would have expected, but it's sort of more firmer in the European way rather than the old French Peugeot way. Another thing that's not like the old Peugeot way is the gearbox, which the 6-speed gearbox, and this works very, very well. Peugeot's originally had a really bad reputation for gearboxes. It would say refuse to change up at 50 kilometers an hour, so if you drive through town at 30,000 RPM, which is not really all that refined. That's all changed now, yeah, the only sign that this is a 3-cylinder engine is the growl under acceleration. It's got a slightly diesel-like growl or a rasp. It's the odd sort of note that a odd cylinder engine gives. And when you slow down and use the start-stop system, which stops the engine automatically, the engine gives a little shudder just before it stops, which again just takes a touch off the refinement, but it's not all that intrusive. And if you turn the stop and go system off, then it's quite fine. But as a wagon, this is really quite good because I mean, from here, the back of the car looks so far away. It's truly got an enormous boot. It really does. Peugeot claims it's almost class leading, so I assume it's bigger than most, but not quite the biggest you can get on the market. And that's the Peugeot 308. Yeah, I mean, you can get the slightly more powerful diesel, slightly more powerful petrol if you want. but then you miss out on the character of this little 3-cylinder, and the added economy of having the little 3-cylinder. So as a family car, as a family wagon, this is, you know, really quite good. Apparently it's won European Car of the Year, and probably most likely deserves to do so, because it's it's a world-class car. It's better than it'll do everything a Toyota Corolla will do, but it does it with character. And you know, it's not too bad, especially considering what you know, even the styling's conventional. Not flashy or anything. It's just nice and reasonably conservative, but it still has character, which is good in a car. So that's the yeah, what the wagon's like. Just generally a nice car to drive.